Welcome to Soft Speak's Camp Kitchen. Have you heard of Lodge's newest product, the Cook-It-All? Well, it was just released a few days ago, and not wanting to wait, we drove 133 miles to South Pittsburg, Tennessee to get us one. So here's the Lodge factory. And here is the Lodge factory store. And this is our Cook-It-All. And now we're all set to make some delicious margarita pizza. And we will be using some lump charcoal piled high. Oh wow, that's good. So the crust is homemade, and the basil, it comes from our garden. Make sure you don't get the pizza crust too close to the edge. I got a little too close and we had to cut some of it off. I'm brushing on a little bit of olive oil with some garlic in it. It'll make the crust taste really good. Now we're ready for a check to see how it's doing. Oh yeah, that looks good. It's got a ways to go though. Nice.
Smells good.
Well, the crust is not as brown as we would like it, so we're going to have to finish it up in the oven.
The Lodge Cook It All. Their model number is 14CIA, which I think is pretty cool. Our first impressions after using this thing once last night was we're pretty excited about it. First of all, it's a big, heavy piece of metal, just like you would think. It's really designed to be used over a campfire or the hot coals from a campfire. We were able to try it out in the backyard here using the wood lump charcoal, as you saw, and cooked pretty well. Once we started baking off the pizza, I noticed that the top was browning nicely and thought we were doing pretty good, but when it came time to pull it off, I noticed that it didn't have enough heat on the bottom. I was a little afraid of burning the pizza, so from the bottom, so I didn't put as much heat down there, but that is a thick piece of metal down there, so you do need to actually get that one pretty warm too if you're going to make pizza in this thing. But overall, I think it did very, very well. Full disclosure, we did have to finish the pizza off in the oven, but it was very tasty. A little practice and I bet you we could do this just about anywhere. Another item that we bought was the fire and cook stand. This thing worked really, really well with it. It's sturdy enough to be able to hold the weight of the entire cooker or just the lid. I preheated the lid by putting coals on top, had it sitting on the stand, and put the bottom skillet grill side down on the on a trivet like I have right now. I'll see if I can get a shot of this. Well, probably not the best shot, but you can see that I have just the regular little X trivets that you get for cooking with Dutch ovens that don't have feet. But anyway, the distance there was pretty good. As you can see, what I was talking about, this is a thick piece of metal right here. Really needs to be heated up fairly well when you're doing pizza. I didn't think that it was going to be that difficult to get the bottom browned, but it definitely was cooked on top, but not so much on the bottom. But like I said, overall, it was pretty successful. It's tough making pizza on cast iron. We've done it in the 14-inch Camp Chef Dutch oven that we've had, and it turned out pretty good. But I think using this, it'll just take a little practice. For the most part, it's designed and built like a tank. It will last forever. And oh yeah, the seasoning. I noticed in the comments section of some of the articles written about this that everybody's talking about, well, what will happen to the seasoning after you put coals on it? Well, I gotta tell you, I've owned a lot of different Lodge products and never seen a seasoning this tough before. We used it once, and I'm gonna see if I can get in here a little closer. Used it once last night, as you saw in the video, and washed it, and I did not add any more seasoning to it. It is nice and smooth. It feels like it has the seasoning still on it. If I were to add any, it would just probably end up getting a little sticky on me. So in a second here, I'm going to go ahead and open this up and show you guys what the other, the bottom half looks like. Everything looks brand new. So I don't know what they did with the seasoning this time, but it's really, really tough. So this is a shot of the bottom end from what we were using last night. The seasoning still looks really, really good. Nothing seems to be scratched up after being put on the metal trivet. Even put this side on the fire and cook stand a couple times, and don't see any nicks or scratches or anything like that. It's pretty tough, pretty durable, really nice and heavy. I would say, I haven't weighed anything yet, but I would probably say that the whole thing weighs about 15 pounds. Couldn't find any real specs online either. But I think the skillet end and the grill portion, it's gonna hold up. I don't think it's gonna get you have to put a new seasoning on it every time you use it. Oh yeah, and also cleanup is very easy with this thing. I was really impressed with how quickly I had this thing cleaned up. Now, mind you, I was at home, but pretty sure I could take a hose sprayer to it at the campground and then just dry it off in the fire, or put it on the camp stove and heat it back up and get it dried off, and it would be ready to use the next meal. So we're pretty darn happy with the way everything has turned out with this. It's been kind of an adventure. We took off and went up to the lodge store on Saturday to get this. Spent most of the day in the car, but glad we did. Didn't know we wanted this thing last week, didn't know it existed, but here it is, and we have one, and we're really happy about that.
Thank you for watching our video on the Lodge Cook It All.